This is going to be a structureless video on how my future videos will have structure. I'm trying to dial it in a little bit, and while the previous videos were very freeform and rambly and done in practically one take, these future ones are going to be a little bit more edited. They're going to have a little bit more of a script, and they're going to have some guidance, some sections. That way that the review is a little bit easier and it's not just some guy rambling about a book for 6 minutes. So I drafted up some guidelines. Now, this is what my review format is going to look like in the future. So there's going to be an introduction where I'll go over the book title, the author, the book genre, its length and how long it'll take to read, its point of view, and my opinion on how readable is this book? Is it something you can breeze through, an easy reader, or is it something you're really going to need to sit down and take your time with because it is a little harder to comprehend? Now, when it comes to readability, I've always wanted my channel to be about the everyman. I've always hated things that are complex for complexity's sake. I hate how superior and high and mighty that things can be in the literary world. I don't believe that fiction needs to be that way. And fantasy and sci-fi is my favorite genre, and I don't want to see, the kinds of pompous, self-aggrandizing things that I see from other reviewers in my videos. So these are all going to be for the everyman, for you and me. I'm just gonna say, hey, is this an easy read or is this a hard one? Now, after the introduction, we're gonna move into setting, where I will talk about the world itself. So, if we're talking about Game of Thrones, I would describe Westeros a little bit. We're gonna talk about the time frame and time period. So if we're talking fantasy, that'd be like, is this medieval? Is this Bronze Age? Is this, classical era? What are we looking at? Then we're going to talk about aspects of the world, the like religion, culture, location, distances, more shallow aspects, not going super deep, because I know in a lot of stories, the culture, the locations, distances, and even the religion can give away key story pieces. So the aspects of the world are going to be, at my discretion, and I'm not going to spoil the story for you in a non-spoiler review. We're going to talk about how well realized the world is, and this just means, does the world feel real? As the characters move through, this story, does the surroundings feel like an actual place? Is it consistent? Does it follow, its own laws of nature? Those kinds of things. And I'm not talking about, when I say following the laws of nature, I'm not saying, does it have magic and magic bad? Obviously not. I mean, if, say, in the world, if you set a law that, gravity exists, well, gravity better stay consistent and continue existing through the world. We don't want, the laws of physics changing in your world on a daily basis. And if you do change the laws of physics in your world, you better have a reason, and you better explain that to the reader. And then we're going to talk about characters and dialogue. Now, moving into characters and dialogue, we're going to talk about the characters. Who are they? Their likability, their dislikability, their realism, their individuality, consistency of motivations. Now, when I say who are they in the main characters, I'm talking about characters you will discover on the back short description or within the first, 25%, first few chapters of a book. Okay, I'm not going to be out here spoiling characters that, pop up right at the end and things like that. These are, your basic POVs. Likability, dislikability, it's entirely subjective. It's going to be on if I liked them or didn't like them. Realism, do these feel like real people? A lot of characters don't feel like real people and they are caricatures. I hate that. So I'm going to tell you if I feel like these characters are real people or if they act like real people. Then I'm going to talk about individuality. And a lot of younger writers, even myself included when I try to write, characters are easy to blend together when you're writing. And it is a very impressive skill when authors are able to have very distinct, unique characters and have hundreds of them with consistent personalities that differ from each other. And that is something we're looking for in books. We definitely want these characters to have individuality. Then I'm talking about consistency of motivations. And what I mean by this is without any interfering events or character progression, have a consistent motivator. Now, by this I mean, let's say you have a character whose brother is murdered before their eyes by the big bad guy. Now they want to go avenge their brother, and their main goal in life is to avenge him. Well, a week later, he learns that baking is the greatest thing in the world, and now he wants to become the world's greatest baker, and he stops caring about the guy who killed his brother. I think that is, inconsistency in motivations. So we want to see events or, intrinsic self-realization events happen to characters to have, differences of motivations. We want to see reasons for a character, fucking off and doing something else. And I know that's a very specific example, but just something I thought of. Now, as you can see at this point, there's some red. Now, the red indicates that this is going to be in the spoiler review, because I've decided that for every book I do, I'm going to have 2 reviews. There's going to be the short and concise 5-minute ones, or, around 5-minute ones, that are completely spoiler-free, and you won't find any information on the book and plot outside of maybe, the very beginning. And that's just to kind of set it up and tell you what kind of a story you're going to get. It's hard to write a review telling you absolutely nothing about the book. So, in that first few chapters, I want to say 25%ish, sometimes 25%, depending on book length, you're going to learn a little bit about the plot. And those are going to be the non-spoiler reviews. Now, the red, I'm going to make spoiler reviews. Now, these are going to be reviews that are going to be, around 10 minutes long is the goal I have. And they're going to talk about the actual story events, the impact on the story the characters had. We're going to talk about themes. We're going to talk about the story itself and its major plot developments. We're going to talk about the story pacing and how well each of these plot developments, move through the story. And we're going to talk about plot threads that are resolved and plot threads that are left open, because no one likes it when there's too many plot threads left open. Or, we don't really want to see every single one resolved, because that means we're not getting another book, unless this is absolutely the finale, and then we definitely want to see them all resolved. And so these spoiler reviews are going to obviously include spoilers of the story, and are going to be for readers who have just finished reading and they want to see what someone's opinion is, and if theirs matches what other people's are. I know myself, after I finish something, and I really love it, I want to go see other people who really loved it. Or if I really hated it, I want to go online and find other people who really hated it and get validated. So that's going to be the purpose of those spoiler reviews. And then, for non-spoiler reviews, we're also going to talk about side characters, their likability, dislikability, realism, individuality. We're going to give you the basic plot, like I said here. So I'm going to give you, not spoiling past maximum 25% of the book. We're going to set up the events. So like when I talked about the Goblin Emperor, I said, Maya, I go back and forth on the name. He, becomes emperor abruptly, and it is about him navigating court, its machinations, its intrigue, navigating relationships and customs and traditions. Okay, that is the basic plot without giving you actual plot. So, there's all kinds of things that go on, and they all fall around that kind of, that kind of theme. I'm going to give you the foundation of the story. That's basically what that is. And then the only other part of plot I'm going to give you is its pacing. And this just means I'm going to give you the basic, how did I think the story went? Did it go fast? Did it slog? Was it just right? And obviously pacing is a very subjective matter. Some people love slow stories. Some people hate slow stories. Some people don't think slow stories are slow. Some people don't think fast stories are fast. You get the idea. So I'm going to give you my opinion on the pacing of the story. And, if you see a review I did of a book and you think that, your idea of pacing and my idea of pacing are different, well, then you know that for the future. So this is the video format we'll be going on. So I just wanted to give a heads up on kind of where I was going with my ideas for the channel, because I did just make this very recently, and I don't want to stay in the slog of doing ramble, freeform, one-take videos forever. So this is an idea of how to make better content a little faster. I also do want to add, when I'm doing some of these reviews, little quotes from at least the first 25% of the book for the non-spoilers, and definitely going to add some quotes for the spoiler reviews, just to back up some of my opinions and my takes. That's the story. So thank you for watching.